Bible gives us very clear instructions on staying away from strange women. And the biblical definition of strange women are women that cause a man to commit sexual sins. We see in the book of Kings that King Solomon, who was the greatest king who ever lived, was tempted to sin against God with all of these strange women of the land of Canaan. The Bible says in 1 Kings chapter 11, "But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall not go in unto them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love." We see here that the problem with King Solomon was that he loved women. Now, there is nothing wrong with being infatuated with women, but to completely indulge yourself with women simply because you're handsome or because you are rich, this does not give you justification to sin against God, because as the Bible says here in 1 Kings chapter 11, God gave warning to the children of Israel that their hearts would be turned away after the gods of these people if you were to join yourselves to these women. Now, often it comes that when a person marries or joins himself in a partnership with an unbeliever, that the believer will often follow in the footsteps of their partner and sometimes will fall away from their faith. So it's very important that you pick and choose your partner wisely. How many times have we seen very famous people or very intelligent people fall victim to the lure and to the temptation of sexual sin, adultery, and fornication? It is because of this lust that people have fallen from positions of power, positions of honor, and places of authority. So it's very important that you stay away from strange women. And I'm going to read to you a passage from the Old Testament law. Deuteronomy chapter 17 says, "When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shalt possess it, and shalt dwell therein, and shalt say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me, thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord hath said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away." Let me read that again. "Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites, and it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes, to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children, in the midst of Israel." When God had led the people of Israel by Moses out of Egypt centuries ago, he gave these very specific instructions in the Old Testament law to the people, that when they are to set a king over them, that this king was not to multiply to himself a lot of money, silver and gold. Neither was he to multiply a lot of horses to himself. We could equate this to someone like a rich person greatly multiplying to himself many cars. And then also, in this particular case, he was not to multiply to himself many wives, specifically the wives of the women of the people of those nations which surrounded them, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, and so on. And the reason for that was because God specifically said here that they would turn away their hearts after their gods. So we can see that influence plays a huge role in a person's life, that if you are to take someone who is not a believer and make them your spouse, they potentially could turn you away from God, and you don't want that to happen. Deuteronomy chapter 7 says, When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations are greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. Here's the key verse, verse 4. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. So this is where God specifically says that they will turn your son away from me. And so the key idea here is that if you are tempted to be with someone who is not a believer, someone who's an atheist, or someone who's not of the same religion as you, you are not to marry them. You are not to be with them, for they will turn you away from following God. And that is a big no-no. So if you want to not go to heaven, then by all means, continue dabbling with women, strange women. And as Solomon fell, so you too will fall. For the Bible says in 1 Kings chapter 11, For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and went not fully after the Lord, as did David his father. So we see here that Solomon had turned away from the God he once loved and went after other gods, strange gods. And the end of his life was a very bad one. So please, 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 when you consider going after strange women, remember this, that you too are not exempt.